Hello, you are watching the Post-Up Show with Cyrus and Kaunda. We're coming to you just before the All-Star Game takes place, which means this is going to be the All-Star Game preview. Kaunda, I hope you're ready for what promises to be an incredible All-Star Game, because they always are good, and an incredible Post-Up Show. You good, man?
Yeah, and that's All-Star K to you, by the way, in case you forgot.
All-Star K, that's cool. I'm also All-Star C. So, we've got the letters, we've got the All-Star, we're ready. Let's not waste any more time. For all of you who've been watching the shows, thank you so much. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. So, we've got the teams lined up. We've got Team LeBron and Team KD, or Team Durant. Kaunda, LeBron and KD had a really interesting draft process where you could see the to and fro was really interesting, but LeBron picking Giannis number one that was a big move. What did you think about that?
I think that was strategic because he needed a guy who could handle KD, and then when he thought to himself, who can handle? Well, Kevin Durant won't be playing, but
that's my point. I don't know if it was all that strategic. I think he thought there's a two-time MVP available up for grabs that isn't Steph Curry. I think maybe I should go for Giannis.
Look, if you ask me, being that he knew KD was injured, he should have gone for Steph first, like I thought he would. But I think, like you say, he can see the skill, and he's like, you know what? Let me grab the guy I consider to be the best at the moment, apart from myself. And I thought that was quite a brilliant move to get Giannis. And do you know why he got Giannis? He was almost guaranteed that Kevin Durant was going to pick his teammate.
Yeah,
so he had Steph in the
obvious.
bag.
It was obvious.
Yeah,
so he was like, yeah.
Anyway, so let me get Giannis before this guy grabs him, because I know he's going to need a guard, and he's going to go straight to his teammates in Kyrie. So he goes, I know I've got Giannis, and then I've got Steph.
All-Star politics. They're so weird. It's just so strange. Where you're like, okay, fine, so you got to pick your teammate first. I'm like, come on, man. But anyway, I get it. Giannis going first, and then obviously Kyrie going first for Team KD. But then when you look at the way the teams have lined up, and I mean, let's look at the graphic again. You got Curry, Doncic, Jokic as being the other members of Team LeBron as starters. And in terms of Team KD, who himself won't play, you've got Beal, Embiid, Kyrie, Kawhi, and Jason Tatum, who is replacing Kevin Durant. These should be pretty evenly matched teams for some. For others, you're like Steph and Giannis and LeBron and Doncic. I think this is a game over scenario. I haven't even gone to and Jokic.
And Jokic, bro.
Yeah.
You heard what Giannis said. He said it's over.
Yeah.
Lights out. It's barbecue chicken. It's like, hey, it's done. They don't have KD. They don't have Devin Booker now. Enough respect to Mike Conley, but
well, you talked about it. Devin Booker's out injured. Mike Conley now finally gets his first appearance as an All-Star. 14 seasons in the league, and this is, I think, the longest wait anybody's ever had to go through in order to become an All-Star. Mike Conley, congratulations to him, selected as the replacement for the injured Devin Booker, who was selected as the replacement for the injured Anthony Davis. But Conley's an All-Star. Utah now has 3 All-Stars in this game. So there's 3 Jazz, 3 Nets. Maybe this is also a preview of what could be happening in the NBA Finals. Who knows?
Absolutely, Cyrus. And
I'm really happy for Conley.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you ask me, I think Conley is much deserving of this. I think in terms of being a great guard, he's been one of those great guards, but he's been silently doing his thing. He's had a great contract, if you ask me. Anybody would want to have a Mike Conley-sized contract. And I think him spending all that time in Memphis as well, he hasn't been flashy. He's just been doing the work, putting in time and playing. And I think the NBA in the past, maybe even 10 seasons, Cyrus has just been riddled with great guards. And I think that's one of the situations where you're a Mike Conley, you might, fade into the background somewhat as, one of those guys. But in actual fact, you're a great guard. And I'm glad this situation has just brought up a scenario where, hey, it's Mike Conley, and maybe he might even be selected next time because, I mean, you put up his numbers there, 16.1 points a game, 5.7 assists. That is nothing to sneeze at. 3.5 rebounds, Cyrus. And that's only in the 29 games this season. This guy plays well. And I think moving from Memphis, which hasn't been a contender really in many years, and taking him to Utah, and looking at what Utah has managed to do in the season so far, it's a great move for him, and I'm glad he gets to get his All-Star jersey.
No, I am too. I think Conley's been one of the best servants of the game of basketball, and he's done so well throughout his career. He might not be the most spectacular, but when you look at what he's done at the teams that he's been on, like you mentioned, the Grizzlies, he's one of those guys you just think, this guy has been a mainstay in the NBA for such a long time. It's great to see him get his just due. I mean, there's people who are saying there's still snubs who should have been picked ahead of him, like a DeMar DeRozan, but I'm really happy for Conley. He's never been picked before. This is his first time, and man, long may it continue. So let's go into the actual All-Star game itself. I mean, it's happening early hours of Monday morning for us here in the African continent, but Sunday in the US, and this is what the schedule looks like, Kay. So we've got the skills challenge and the three-point contest taking place before the actual All-Star game happens, and then at halftime with All-Star game, you've got the slam dunk contest. I mean, it's the first time in our memory that this has happened, where they've had all of these events happening on one night, and it's one spectacular night. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I mean, okay, so that means lack of sleep from 1:30 in the morning on Monday morning, before the game itself starts at 3 in the morning, and that should finish at like 5:30 in the morning. I think Monday is a write-off.
No, Cyrus, we're going to put in that post-up work. What do you mean it's a write-off?
It's a write-off. I'll get you my doctor's note.
Sleepy.
Yeah, that's it. But of those things, I mean, let's look at the skills challenge. You know, it's going to be a fun one because you've got quite a good mix of guys who are going to be competing in the All-Star game, taking part in the skills challenge, except for Robert Covington, who's been brought in specifically for this event. The rest of them are actually All-Stars.
Yes.
Now, we've seen the guards and we've seen the bigs really battle it out over the years. This should be another nice sort of encounter where you've got these guys really going for it to see who's got the most skill. I think I'm going to go with a guard in this one, and I think I'm going to go with Luka Doncic as potentially being the favorite here, because I think he's going to be a little bit quicker than Chris Paul, though Chris Paul does it all really well. In the skills challenge, who might you be backing?
Cyrus, the past couple of years, we've seen bigs really step up and show guards that they've also got the skills. But look, as much as I respect you going for Luka Doncic, one of the premier youngsters in the league at the moment, but we've also got the guy they call the point guard. And they call him the point guard for a reason, Cyrus. Chris Paul, CP3. He might not be as fast on his feet as Luka Doncic, but his accuracy is outstanding. And sometimes it comes down to accuracy. I've seen guys take the lead and then they're bricking
and
shots
then blow
and then they get left behind. Yes. So for me, Cyrus, I know the bigs have been dominating recently. I'm going with a guard. I'm putting my money on the guy on the banana boat, CP3, the point guard, Cyrus. He's taking the skills check.
Okay, so that means that we've got that covered. The next of the preview events is the three-point contest. My personal favorite, you know, I'm a three-point contest guy. And if there's one name that stands out in this particular one, it has to be Steph Curry. I mean, this guy, he's been shooting the lights out for so many years. He's won the contest before on a couple of occasions, if I remember correctly. And, he's just the man to beat. Devin Booker won't be taking part because of the knee injury that's keeping out of the All-Star game. So Mike Conley actually takes his place in the three-point contest. If it's not Steph who's going to win this, who stands out for you as being one of the other big shooters to look out for?
Cyrus, I was thinking last night that there's only one person I think who's ever beaten Steph Curry in the three-point contest, and I think that's Klay Thompson. Plus brothers. It was a couple of seasons ago, I think. I think only Klay beat Steph. And so you're asking me now if it's not Steph, because I think if we went with Steph, it would be like one of those, we're choosing.
It seems too easy. We're
copying out, right? So, man, I would go with Chicago's very own Zach LaVine. I know he's well known for his dunking. He's well known for his dunking, and he's a two-time slam dunk champion. But he's also been making it work from range.
His three-point shooting.
I think if he stays calm, stays focused, I'm going with Chicago's very own Zach LaVine, Cyrus.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. We disagreed on the skills challenge, but I'm agreeing with you in the three-point contest. I think Zach LaVine is probably going to be the guy to beat here. Though, when we look at the actual lineup itself, Conley is not too bad. Donovan Mitchell's not too bad. Of the rest of them, maybe I might go with Jaylen Brown because I like him as a shooter, and I think he's more a shooting guard than a point guard, really. So, he's the kind of guy who could potentially do quite well in this contest. But because of the situation that they'll have in Atlanta, it's not like they could just ship in all of the best shooters. All of these guys are going to be involved in the All-Star game. So, it's a question of who of the All-Star guys are the best shooters. Steph clearly is the favorite, but I agree with you in terms of Zach LaVine. Now,
I was actually expecting you to go with Jason Tatum. For some reason, I don't know. I thought, here goes Cyrus.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Convince me that Jason Tatum's going to win.
No, I think LaVine. I think LaVine's been shooting the lights out, and he deserves to be on this. And if it's not Steph, I'm going to back him. And I think he'll be one of the few guys. I don't know if anybody else has actually won the slam dunk contest and the 3-point contest before. That's going to be quite a different mix of awards. Now, the slam dunk contest I know is your favorite, but this year's field leaves a lot to be desired in the eyes of everybody who's looking, because they're like, okay, Cassius Stanley, Obi Toppin, and Anthony Simons, huh?
Yeah, I know, Cyrus. I was also like, the reason why I know these guys is because I watch so much NBA.
Yep.
Look, Cyrus, these are youngsters. They're new to the league, and you would expect they would bring in maybe a Blake Griffin or the other big guys, but I think
Blake hasn't dunked in a couple of years in an actual game.
Well, I was expecting even a Josh Okogie or for them to bring back potential and previous winners, but Cyrus, look, it's time for the youngsters to shine, and I think I might say they've probably done this to give youngsters exposure because of the fact that one of our favorite events is not taking place, and that's the Rising Stars. And because that's not taking place, so you give youngsters maybe to perform in this slam dunk competition, and I think they're young enough, they're athletic enough, and I think they're gonna actually surprise us, Cyrus. We'll be quite surprised as what these youngsters will put together, the kind of elevation they'll be able to get. I mean, I know you'll be expecting a Terry Jones Jr., you'll be expecting a Josh Okogie, the usual suspects to come through and give us spectacular dunks. But I think these youngsters will show us a show. I mean, they'll put on a show. They should do. We'll be pleasantly surprised, because I've seen some of their workout videos on the socials and what kind of things they might bring to the table. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Let's see. I mean, the thing is, the dunk contest seems to have just been the how do we rob Aaron Gordon contest. But hey, that's done. So, I mean, this would have been a year for him to come through and say, okay, fine, Zach LaVine's not there. And the judges this year are really, really, really incredible. All slam dunk champions in the past. This is something I feel they should have been doing from before, because get dunkers to rate dunkers, guys who have actually done this thing before. And I hope that they keep that trend going forward. I do think that what's nice about having the youngsters is they can do a lot more because the creativity levels are quite high.
Yes. No, Cyrus, you mentioned that they're putting former winners as judges. I think this is a throwback to, if I'm not mistaken, is it 2009 or somewhere, where they had Kobe, MJ, Dominique Wilkins, and all them.
Yes, I think so.
There was an All-Star some time back where they actually had former winners judging the contest. And I think this year, we're almost a year now since COVID wreaked havoc in the league. And I think they have to add as much spice as they can and get as many eyeballs watching this. And I think this is a great eyeball attractor, where you're like, oh, my word, former champions are judging this. So it's going to be great to see what they have to say about the creativity and the ability that are coming to dunk, because they've done it before. They're not just the Kaunda Chama who rocks up because he's a big fan and probably last dunked when Allen Iverson was still in the league. Okay, now I'm going to judge this slam dunk contest,
Look, but I think that's always been it, in the sense that sometimes you have certain judges who get put on panels, we're not going to mention names, who seem to just be spoilers, as opposed to guys who are saying, look, the creativity, the execution, all of that stuff, I've tried it before and it's failed. This is really incredible to see from a competitive perspective. To wrap up, the game is on. We know it's happening early hours of Monday morning, 3 a.m. These are the teams again, Kaunda. you sticking with Team LeBron are going to whitewash Team Durant in this one?
I wouldn't call it a whitewash, but I think on my team, which is Team LeBron, we have a slight edge. We have the best shooter in the history of the game. We have the best player in the league at the moment. We have the back-to-back MVP. We have one of the most dominant big men on
Who's
the
the best player in the league? Who's the best player in the league?
Well, he's from Akron, Ohio. Oh no, that's where Steph is from as well. No, it's the other guy.
So you're saying LeBron James the best player in the league?
Absolute best player on the planet now.
I mean,
right now.
Look, fittest best player on the planet, I'll agree with, because I think Team Durant, KD, might have a few things to say about that when it comes to facing LeBron. You know all about him. I do think that Team KD does have a couple of game breakers that they can call on, and that's the difference here, in the sense that when you look at the guys who are the starters for Team LeBron, they're pretty good. When you go to the bench, they're obviously still good players, but I think that there's a little bit more firepower in Team KD. If you're able to then pull James Harden in off the bench, you've got a heck of a lot of skill there. And then when you're looking at the center matchup, Embiid is there. He can do his thing. So I don't think that they'll have any real issues with facing what's happening with Team LeBron, but Team LeBron is stacked, Kaunda. So, oh man, am I going to agree with you here? For argument's sake, no. Team KD for the win. That's it. We're going to end the show there, Kaunda.
Absolutely. But Cyrus, I'll see you Monday morning.
Yeah.
I'll see you Monday morning. And I hope you've still got that Team KD smile on your face. Come Monday morning.
Let me just tell you, it doesn't ever really matter because the winner of the game is the fans at home. But for bragging rights, I think Team KD could take this one. Maybe even KD might be like, you know what, I'm suiting up. I can't take this anymore. But thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. This has been the Post Up Show. You know how we do. We just love this game so much, and we know that the All-Star game is one of our favorite things. Like they say, if you ain't watching basketball, what are you doing with your life?